And so I was just trying to cry without making any sound because I didn't want to disturb the person who was kind enough making me a coffee. And I just cried, and I felt a release, and I felt a relief from that. Day one in hospital is, for me, I went in on a Tuesday ready for the op first thing Wednesday morning. So on Tuesday, there was a lot of hanging around. They told me to be there at 11 o'clock, and I think I got onto my bed about 3 o'clock. And the reason for that, I suppose, they want to make sure people turn up. And in addition to that, they've also got other people waiting to leave. So it's like a turnover thing. And so there's a lot of hanging around. So day one in hospital, if you're allowed to eat, then make sure you take a bottle of water with you and maybe some sandwiches or something like that. There may be vending machines, there may be a cafeteria nearby, but it depends on the hospital or type of hospital. But at least then you've got something to do, fiddle on your phone, read a book, whatever. But be prepared day one for some hanging around. And then you get into the bed, you unload your stuff and prepare everything. In the hospital I was in, all this is the NHS. In the hospital I was in, when you get into it, there's a box. And this box is anything you want to take to the surgery room. So in there, I made sure my hearing aids were in there, my phone, a charger. And the reason for this is after the operation, you may come back to the same bed in the same ward, or you may go to another ward which is more intensive, so that there's they just come out the op. Maybe it was a bit difficult. Maybe they want to monitor you for whatever reason. So what happens is if that's the case, then somebody unpacks all the stuff you put into the thing, puts in the case, and that's sorted out. And then you get it when you go back on the ward. But whatever's in that box goes with you. So that goes down to the surgery, that's put on the side. And then when you go to the high dependency unit or whatever you are, or back to ward, that whatever's in that box goes with you. So massive tip, put in there whatever you need, reading glasses, hearing aids, whatever you need in there, put it in that box, and a phone and a charger. And because after the op, so that's day one. So day one, night one, I actually had quite a good night's sleep because I was offered a sleeping tablet. I don't take or have sleeping tablets normally, but it's the night before an operation, you're in hospital, there's strange sounds going on, people might be in pain, there might be some moaning and so on, and machines might be bleeping and it's lighter than usual, or it's hopefully got your eye mask on. But what I found was I had a very low dosage of a sleeping tablet, and it just took the edge off, and I had some rest and I had some sleep. And then the following morning, for me anyway, I was the first one down. You go down, you'll have the op, and then you wake up in this other ward, which is exactly what happened to me. And then I actually had the consultant come and see me. This is day two now, sorry, day two. So I had day two, I had the op, I wake up in the recovery ward. The consultant come to see me when he finished doing all the stuff during the day, asked me how I was, and to be honest, I felt fantastic. I said, I'm brilliant. I can't believe I've had this op. I was lying in bed and I didn't try moving or anything. And he said, yeah, the drugs are great, aren't they? And that's it, because, there's so much, there's so much painkillers and the anaesthetist thing, to put you out, that are still in your body, so you're not feeling much. And that night, slept really well as well. And the following day, I went to the normal ward when I started, and I was in a different bed. So somebody came, a visitor came and sorted out my stuff for me, which was really helpful. And then it's you kind of get into it. It lasts a couple of days. So because I had bowel cancer, then so part of my colon was removed. Then you're just on soft foods for a while, so things like porridge and stuff like that, and it's all soft food to start with. And then again, the consultants come to see me. So this is day three. Day three, I'm back on the ward, and the catheter's removed. And interesting thing about a catheter, it's the first in my life I had one, and I was really surprised. You don't know you're weighing. I didn't know I was weighing, because I suppose you don't get that urge because everything's just automatic. So I don't know if I leave that in or not. But anyway, so day three is they encourage you then to get out of the bed and sit in a chair. And after having basically I had two ops in one, the hernia repaired and I had some colon removed, I felt like everything was ripping as I got up. It smarted, but it was okay. And I got in a chair, then I managed to sort of stand up, and so the recovery starts pretty much straight away. The nurses are great and helpful, and pretty soon one day rolls into another. So I went to hospital on the Tuesday, ready for the operation on Wednesday. On Friday, the consultant said I could go home today, but he wanted me in over the weekend just for more observations, make sure there's no infection, and monitor my temperature and things like that. And then Monday, everything was cool, and I came out. Now, the bits in between, each day I stood up and took a few steps, and then the next time I tried to take a few more steps and a few more steps. And what really surprised me is there's two things that I missed. One is the sunshine and one is fresh air. And because the window's hardly open, there's no breeze. So I managed to find a little place in the corridor with an open window, and it was just brilliant. So I came home, and then other things happened at home. What happens next is you just get used to moving again. So there's a really good tip for this type of surgery is a rolled up towel wrapped up with sellotape, so it's like a soft, firm surface. So as you stand up, you just hold it against the stomach area. So when you stand up, you've got some support. I can walk, I can take steps, I can do some stairs because the physio wouldn't allow you to leave till you go up and down some stairs. And so it's just getting back to normal. Maybe the food might be not quite as soft, and you're generally building things up. And there's painkillers. I wasn't in a lot of pain, a lot of discomfort, and I felt like things were pulling or going to rip and things like that. None of that happened. It was just a feeling. And so it took each day, got a little easier. And after being home for about 2 weeks, I then had an outpatient appointment in the hospital, and they give me the results of the biopsy. So part of the operation for colon cancer that I experienced was they removed a part of my colon, some nodes, lymph nodes in some surrounding tissue. That was sent off to a lab, and the results came back, and thank goodness that I had, it hadn't spread. So I don't need chemo or any other further treatment, which is amazing. But it's very much about, it was like a relief. After the operation is something I missed. After the op, in hospital, maybe day 2, I can't remember exactly, I felt emotional because I just felt like this weight had been lifted off me. And I didn't cry or anything, but there's nothing wrong with that, by the way, but I just felt emotional, felt the weight lifted off me. And then what happened was, when I then heard that I didn't have, I wouldn't need any further treatment, they're just going to monitor me for the next couple of years with tests and scans and things like that. Then the day after that, I cried, and I don't mind saying, as a man, an old man, beard and everything, that I was emotional, and the relief and the release that I felt. And to be honest, there was somebody else here at the time, and they were in the kitchen making a coffee, and I was in loud. It just hit me, and it just come from nowhere. And so I was just trying to cry without making any sound, because I didn't want to disturb the person who was kind enough making me a coffee. And I just cried, and I felt a release, and I felt a relief from that. And I'm telling you this very openly because it's almost like we have the news, we have cancer, and at that point there's a part of you that holds your breath. And then you have an operation if one is required. And it's like you let out a bit of breath. And then the results come back, and hopefully you got the results that you want, as I did. And then it's like you can let that final breath go on without realizing you're holding on to something. And I just feel lucky. I feel lucky. And it's a new phase of life. And hopefully this little bit at the end of my personal experience will help you to help those that you love, or to help you to understand what could happen yourself. There's limitations. So I can now walk for about 5 minutes before I feel things pulling a bit. And then I have to stop, take a breath, take it easy, and then I slowly walk back. But I'm just trying to walk every day so that I'm building up my energy, my strength, and things like that. But the frustration I had was, I wanted to prepare something earlier, something as simple as mashed potato, but I couldn't peel a potato. So I had a potato at the peeler because I couldn't press down enough with the peeler against the potato to press down and slide it across, because that's the core muscles. And my core muscles have all been cut up, obviously repairing the hernia and removing the colon and the surgery. And I had a friend peel the potatoes for me, and then I stood there and I was going to cut them up, and I couldn't push the knife through. And there's these little things that catch you unawares. So be kind to yourself, be gentle to yourself. There'll be things that will take months. The consultant told me it would take me at least 6 months to be fully back to normal, because I've had 2 very big operations, and he said they were very challenging. And I'm incredibly lucky. They were outcomes that I wanted, which I'll talk about, which I've had, and I'll do a different video about that. So hopefully this is going to help you or someone that you love. So take it easy. Much love to you, and onwards and upwards, as they say. Ta-ra.